My esteemed colleagues, I come before you today to recite a speech originally given by Ronald Reagan on June 12, 1987. The speech was not written by Reagan himself, but it was written by one of his speechwriters, Peter Robinson, in 1987, a couple months prior. Now, the speech was given soon after Mikhail Gorbachev, the new Soviet big cheese, announced the policy of glasnost, openness, for those of you who do not speak much Russian. Openness in the sense of the Soviet Union coming clean and being more open with what it was doing behind its Iron Curtain, so to speak. Now, the speech was befitting, and I'm proud Reagan was able to deliver it, but it wasn't without its share of controversy. The NSC and the State Department in particular were very, very, very against Reagan giving the speech, especially the last part when he tells Gorbachev to tear down the wall. They thought that would be kicking up way too much dirt, and it still technically, diplomatically tense time. Reagan went and handled it anyway, and history's proven its effectiveness. 2 years late after the speech was given, the wall was opened by the Eastern Germans. A year later, the wall was demolished, and the Soviet Union collapsed. So, needless to say, it left its mark in history. I hope by reciting it today, I can do some sort of service to it. Our gathering today is being broadcasted throughout Western Europe and North America. I understand that it is being seen and heard as well in the East. To those listening throughout Eastern Europe, a special word. Although I cannot be with you, I address my remarks just as surely to those standing here before me, for I join you, as I join your fellow countrymen in the West, in this firm, this unalterable belief. Es gibt nur ein Berlin. There is only one Berlin. Behind me stands a wall that encircles the free sectors of the city, part of a vast system of barriers that divides the entire continent of Europe. From the Baltic, south, those barriers cut across Germany in a gash of barbed wire, concrete, dog runs, and guard towers. Farther south, there may be no visible, no obvious wall, but there remain armed guards and checkpoints all the same, still a restriction on the right to travel, still an instrument to impose upon ordinary men and women the will of a totalitarian state. Yet it is here in Berlin where the wall emerges most clearly. Here, cutting across your city, where the news photo and the television screen have imprinted this brutal division of a continent upon the mind of the world. Standing before the Brandenburg Gate, every man is a German, separated from his fellow men. Every man is a Berliner, forced to look upon a scar. President von Weizsäcker has said, the German question is open as long as the Brandenburg Gate is closed. Today, I say, as long as the gate is closed, as long as the scar of a wall is permitted to stand, it is not the German question alone that remains open, but the question of freedom for all mankind. Yet I do not come here to lament, for I find in Berlin a message of hope, even in the shadow of this wall, a message of triumph. In West Germany and here in Berlin, there took place an economic miracle, the Wirtschaftswunder. Adenauer, Erhard, Reuter, and other leaders understood the practical importance of liberty, that just as truth can flourish only when the journalist is given freedom of speech, so prosperity can come about only when the farmer and businessman enjoy economic freedom. The German leaders reduced tariffs, expanded free trade, lowered taxes. From 1950 to 1960 alone, the standard of living in West Germany and Berlin doubled. Where 4 decades ago there was rubble, today in West Berlin there is the greatest industrial output of any city in Germany. Busy office blocks, fine homes and apartments, proud avenues, and the spreading lawns of parkland. Where a city's culture seemed to have been destroyed, today there are 2 great universities, orchestras, and an opera, countless theaters and museums. Where there was want, today there's abundance. Food, clothing, automobiles, the wonderful goods of the Kingdom. From devastation, from utter ruin, you Berliners have in freedom rebuilt a city that once again ranks as one of the greatest on earth. The Soviets may have had other plans. But my friends, there were a few things the Soviets didn't count on. In the 1950s, Khrushchev predicted, "We will bury you." But in the West today, we see a free world that has achieved a level of prosperity and well-being unprecedented in all human history. In the communist world, we see failure, technological backwardness, declining standards of health, even want of the most basic kind, too little food. Even today, the Soviet Union still cannot feed itself. After these 4 decades, then, there stands before the entire world one great and inescapable conclusion. Freedom leads to prosperity. Freedom replaces the ancient hatreds among the nations with comity and peace. Freedom is the victor. And now the Soviets themselves may, in a limited way, be coming to understand the importance of freedom. We hear much from Moscow about a new policy of reform and openness. Some political prisoners have been released. Certain foreign news broadcasts are no longer being jammed. Some economic enterprises have been permitted to operate with greater freedom from state control. Are these the beginnings of profound changes in the Soviet state? Or are they token gestures intended to raise false hopes in the West, or to strengthen the Soviet system without changing it. We welcome change and openness, for we believe that freedom and security go together, that the advance of human liberty can only strengthen the cause of world peace. There is one sign the Soviets can make that would be unmistakable, that would advance dramatically the cause of freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall! Thank you for listening to me rant and rave about the Soviet Union. And thank you to Rachel for providing such a wonderful commentary. That's what I